Yeah, g'day scrappers. Lately over at scrapforum.com.au there's been some discussion about whether to sell your computer towers that you pick up complete, or whether to scrap them out. Is it worthwhile scrapping out your PCs rather than selling them? Mostly the discussions stem from the fact that scrap steel is so low at the moment. It's 5 cents a kilo here in Australia, whereas probably 12 months ago it was more around 20 cents a kilo, and even up to 25 cents a kilo. So so from when it was 25 cents a kilo to now, it's gone down 80%. So that's really put a hole in scrappers' pockets as far as scrap steel. Now, not much else has gone down. I mean, obviously copper and everything's gone down a little bit, but nothing compared to scrap steel. So is it worth scrapping a PC tower, or is it worth just selling it to a PC, to an eWaste buyer? And so, well, the going price in Australia, now it's a bit more in say in America, but here in Australia it used to be 45 cents a kilo, and but I'm finding that most e-waste buyers probably would prefer to pay around 40 cents a kilo these days, and some even less, just depending on the prices that they're getting for scrap steel. Some states in Australia, like in Tasmania, they're actually not getting anything for steel anymore. So it really does vary. So anyway, so what I'm going to do, I've got 4 PCs here, and I'm just going to get the weight of each PC and the value of as they are selling them, and then I'm going to scrap each one out and get a rough price of what you will get for selling those components and see the difference. Obviously there's another step further in actually depopulating the boards and all that sort of stuff, scrapping out hard drives and all that sort of stuff to get more value again. But in this case, all I'm going to be looking at is the selling a PC as it is complete for 40 cents a kilo, or scrapping it out and adding up all the components and see what we're going to get. Okay, so I've got there's so many different types of PCs, so it's obviously everything varies, but that's why we basically go at 40 cents a kilo. So I've got this is a HP that is more of a educational type HP. Pick them up from schools and and stuff. The Optiplex 210, which is a smaller, like this is more of a small form factor. This is a bit larger form factor. Also, these are very common from schools, but no doubt there would be a lot of people, a lot of households that would have them. And then we've got a standard generic PC. So it's a no name, it's not a HP or an IBM, it's just a generic common PC, probably about 10 years old. And then finally I've got an IBM, this is a Netfinity 3500. It's actually a server, so but generally we pay about 40 cents a kilo, regardless whether it's a server or a PC, mostly because these are basically generally like PCs anyway. They do have better boards. If all you're buying was, someone was to give you a whole load of servers, then obviously you could probably pay a little bit more, but we'll work that out anyway. Servers like blade servers and large format servers, like the really big steel boxes, they're a different kettle of fish. It really depends on what's inside them, but all I'm looking at now is just standard PCs, and I'm going to weigh each one up, get the scrap value as it is, and then scrap them out and get the value of what I can get out of them to a reasonable extent. So for instance, the motherboard, the RAM, the CPU, hard drive, if there's a hard drive in there, and all that. You know, so when you're buying PCs, they don't always have hard drives, they don't always have RAM. But obviously, you know, depending on, you know, you would expect that most the PCs that you would sell or buy would have, would at least have hard drive in there. But, you know, a hard drive really isn't worth that much anyway. They're only worth about 50 cents each as scrap. A little bit more, again, if you were to take off the board and scrap out the stuff, because obviously they're, you know, pretty much all aluminium. Anyway, so, yeah, so I'll weigh them up and get the price as scrap value, and we'll go from there. Okay, right, so I'll start it off with putting my price in. So 40 cents a kilo. Okay, we'll start off with the first little one. Okay, now this one weighs 5.76 kilos, and at 40 cents a kilo, it's $2.31. So at 40 cents a kilo, $2.31. It's not really much, $2 for a PC. But again, that's basically the prices we're getting in Australia. So 40 cents a kilo, 5.76 kilos, $2.31. The next one is a mid-sized Dell. Okay, here we've got 8.2 kilos at 40 cents, $3.29. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll weigh up each one when I get all the components out of it. Oh, there goes 2 PCs. Okay, the next one is the generic full-size PC tower, and this weighs just over 10 kilos, 10.06 kilograms, and it comes in at $4.02. And the last one is the IBM server tower. Oh, pretty heavy, that one. Okay, so this server tower, 18.57 kilos. Okay, 18.57 kilos at 40 cents a kilo, $7.43. Okay, so that's our weights. Now next up I'll scrap them out, and we'll get the weights of the steel, the motherboard, and anything else that we get in there, and we'll see how we go from there. Okay, well, I've done the first one, so we'll start off with the tower. Now this tower, which has been scrapped, and all that's left is the scrap steel. So now this would sell for 5 cents a kilo as scrap steel. It's 3.11 kilos at 5 cents a kilo, 16 cents. Okay, so scrap value 16 cents for this empty little tower. We'll get our motherboard. Now I've taken off the main heatsink, and I've taken out the battery, and obviously I've taken out the RAM and the CPU. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go by full price if you're selling bulk to an eWaste buyer in Australia, which is $4 a kilo at the moment. So at $4 a kilo, this is just over half a kilo, 505 grams for this motherboard. At $4 a kilo is $2.02. Okay, $2.02 motherboard. Power supply unit, I've cut off the wire from the outside. Obviously, you could even spend more time and go further and scrap this whole lot out, or you could just sell this complete as a power supply. Power supplies go for about 40 cents a kilo. So at 40 cents a kilo, this weighs exactly 1 kilo, believe it or not. And so at 40 cents a kilo, it's 40 cents. 40 cents for this power supply as it is. Okay, you've taken off the wire, but you could go even further and get the copper out and so on. But just a scrap value, yeah? Now some aluminium. Now it's just extruded aluminium. And this one here, I haven't cleaned it up yet to take off this plastic or anything. And these parts are steel, so I haven't taken that off now. But I'm going to take into account that this one's got a copper base, and it can actually probably be sold as a copper aluminium radiator rather than rather than extruded aluminium, say. So I'm just going to give it extruded aluminium price because it's got that steel on it, to give us a rough example. Extruded aluminium in Australia at the moment on average is $1.10. So 455 grams at $1.10, 50 cents for our aluminium. Hard drive, these modern style hard drives, very basic boards, very basic, not much on there to actually take off. I mean, underneath, most of the components are underneath this, but there is really not much, and they're very, very light. So complete hard drive in Australia, best price you'll probably get is $1.20 a kilo. That's with the boards intact. So we'll go by the best price, but you won't find $1.20 a kilo very often. So probably best to stay at $1.10, like the extruded aluminium actually, because that's more of a realistic price. So at 460 grams at $1.10 a kilo is 51 cents. 51 cents for this hard drive, and basically that's pretty much spot on. 50 cents a hard drive. There was 3 RAM sticks in this board, in this PC. Now a lot of times there could be only 2, sometimes 1, sometimes none. So you've got to watch that when you're buying, especially. So 3 RAM sticks. RAM, best price at the moment is around $12 a kilo. 3 RAM sticks, 45 grams, $12 a kilo, 54 cents. 3 RAM sticks. CPU, Pentium 4, no pins. Best you'll probably get for these in Australia at the moment, $7 a kilo. And that's pretty good. 20 grams, $7 a kilo, 14 cents. 1 CPU, Pentium 4, 14 cents. Insulated copper wire. That's the part that I took off the power supply unit, as you can see. And this little PC, it's only a small chunk of wire. Also got a pin off the DVD board. I'll throw that in as well. And just a little board with some fingers, and there'll be some pins in this plug. I'll throw this as insulated wire as well, around the same price. And also this little board here. Okay, it's got some gold pins. There's gold pins in these USB plugs. So because I depopulate these, I remove the pins. I'll throw this as well. And we'll do this on average $1.80 a kilo. 145 grams at $1.80 a kilo, 36 cents. And that's it. So we've got just about everything out of there. Well, we did get everything out of there. So this one took a little bit longer, just to get a good example of what I'm doing. The next ones I'm going to do a little bit quicker, so this video doesn't drag on forever. Okay, so, and I'll also add up the totals here, and we'll get the difference. Okay then, so I've scrapped out the 4 PCs now, and I've got some tallies up to work out basically the value of them after they're scrapped at if you're buying them or selling them at 40 cents a kilo. So we did the first one, which is the small form factor, obviously, and so here's the first one we did. So okay, let me just get down here. So if you were to sell at 40 cents a kilo, we worked out that it was going to be $2.31 for the complete tower, and after I scrapped it, the value I got from it was $6.94. okay, now an average tower takes 10 minutes to scrap, so we made $4.63 for 10 minutes work on this tower. Okay, so in this case it's all about the thirds. So you know, a third of it is the price that we paid, 40 cents a kilo, $2.31, and we scrapped it. So if you say, well, a third of your time was in you know, the 10 minutes you put into it, $2.31, and then there's another $2.31 profit, $6.94. That's PC1. The second tower, you know, obviously once again they all vary depending on whether you get a hard drive, how many RAM. In this case there was no RAM in this one, so we, you know, so all we got was just the cheapest Pentium 4 CPU, the hard drive. I take out the DVD board and a little bit of aluminium, and also got this one, which you know, copper aluminium radiator, power supply. So PC2, again, sell at 40 cents a kilo. It was $3.29. We scrapped it out. Total, it was only $4.61. So only $1.32 profit on scrapping this one. And so obviously the small form factor, because it's still got a motherboard and it's still got most of the things, the hard drive, CPU, it actually had 3 RAM sticks. So, you know, obviously a lot better value for the first one than this second one. So buying at 40 cents a kilo, it doesn't give you much profit on that. Now the third one, well, we got just a basic motherboard, you know, and I've also, you know, obviously the wire, 1 RAM, CPU, we had 2 DVD drive boards, okay, and 2 slot cards, okay, also the aluminium, 1 hard drive, and a power supply unit. All right, so this PC3, it at, you know, again at 40 cents a kilo, it was $4.02. If you were to sell it, you'd get $4.02. After you scrapped it, it's only $5.43. So $1.41 extra for scrapping it, for spending 10 minutes scrapping it. Not a lot. So if you can get 40 cents a kilo at the moment, it's pretty good, because scrap steel is down very low, and even some components are down. And then finally the server, and the server had a very heavy power supply unit, had 2 hard drives, a zip drive, which have got a couple of good boards on them, so I still class this as a hard drive. 2 CPUs, the green fiber ones, so they're very light. DVD board, 1 big RAM stick, aluminium, wire, and obviously the server board. Okay, so the server board goes for more than the regular motherboards. And so with the server, now this is an IBM server, the old style, so it's usually a lot heavier than a new style server. But here's the breakdown. If you were to sell it at 40 cents a kilo, you get $77.43 a kilo for the server tower as it is. After it was scrapped, we only got $9.97. So a total of $2.54 for scrapping it out. Okay, so there you go. Now obviously, because it's a server board, the components, there's, you know, a lot of tantalum capacitors, there's high quality chips, and that, you know, this is the sort of thing you really don't want to you know, be selling at server board prices to eWaste buyers. You know, when I gave these prices, scrapped out, that's $9.97. That's providing that you're selling everything. Okay, but if you're actually if you're just actually depopulating everything yourself and then selling the components, taking out the gold pins, selling your high quality flat packs, tantalum capacitors, all that sort of stuff, you're going to get a lot more value out of it than just $9.97. But that's another process again, and that requires more labor, more time. So for those people that just want to that are just buying or just want to sell their PC towers, if you were to sell it at 40 cents a kilo and get $7.43, that might be pretty good, because you're not going to get much more for scrapping it out, and then, you know, and then you still got to obviously sell all those individual bits. But and other things on servers is like these plug-ins, you know, they're going to have higher quality gold pins and stuff, so it's much more better value. So if you're buying PC towers, you're much better off scrapping it right down and taking all the components off for precious metal recovery, rather than on selling your motherboards and all those stuff to you know, eWaste buyers. You know, like I said, the power supply units, you can sell these complete for like 40 cents a kilo, so the same price you're actually buying them for, or you can scrap this out and you know, get all the copper out of it and all that, and you'll get some more money for it. So you'll get probably, you know, more like 50 or 55 cents a kilo, and so on. You know, so yeah, that's it, guys. So selling your towers at 40 cents a kilo is not bad if you can, you know, get buyers to buy it at 40 cents a kilo. And otherwise, if you're going to scrap it out, you want to spend more time and take all the IC chips, everything off, and go like that, and sell the gold pins or stuff, because that's the only way you're going to maximize your money. Like with this server here, you know, if you could, you know, like I pay 40 cents a kilo, so if you sold it to me, I'd give you $7.43 for that server. You know, but as you can see, I got to spend time to just make $2.54. You know, but obviously I'm going to depopulate, so I'm going to sort of stretch that value a little bit more after that. So, but that's the only way to maximize your money on that. So, you know, don't be surprised if you take your PC towers to an eWaste buyer and they might only offer you 30 cents a kilo these days, until scrap metal goes up and all the other components goes up, and gold and silver and so on. That's all we're getting. So, and in the US, aside from the actual buy price, when you scrap it out in US dollars, like that server, it will be about the same in America, $9.97 for this, if you were to sell all the components, maybe a little bit more. And obviously you might be paying a little bit more. That's 40 cents Australian, so in America that's less than 20 cents a pound. So, you know, you could probably, in America, you could probably afford to pay 25, maybe 30 cents a pound maximum, just depending on how much you can get for scrap steel. But yeah, in the States I wouldn't be paying any more than 30 cents a pound, that's for sure. That's only because you guys get a little bit more for your motherboards and all that stuff, because a lot of the stuff here in Australia actually gets shipped to America or to one of the Asian countries to get processed. So got to take that into account. So okay, so that's it, guys. PC towers, if you're just looking at selling them complete, you're picking up off the streets or whatever, you're getting them for free, you might be better off just selling them complete, unless you're going to go all the way and depopulate everything off the boards, you know, because like here in Australia I can depopulate this board and I can still get 70 cents a kilo for the board blank. Once all the good bits are taken off, I can still get 70 cents a kilo. So it's well worth depopulating everything on motherboards and server boards especially to get that extra value, because you know, as you can see, there's tantalum capacitors sort of all over it, and there's, you know, high quality resistors. There's some mlccs about on this one, some have more. So yeah, it's really hit and miss. In these mid-range ones, you know, generic, you know, if it was an IBM or a HP, it might have a little bit more value, but not really, you know. So these mid-sized ones, you've really got to be careful in buying them. If you can get 40 cents a kilo, it's pretty good value. These small form factors, obviously they had the best value because they're small. There's not much steel in it, but all the components are still in there. So we still got $6.94 out of this tower, this small form factor, right? But it only cost us $2.31 at 40 cents a kilo, because there's not much steel. So maybe if you're debating whether to sell or not, maybe keep your small form factors, scrap the small forms, and sell these mid ones, and then maybe even keep the servers, or if you sell them, if you're not depopulating, then sell the servers as well. All right, well, keep scrapping, have fun.